Hey everyone, Mr. Aarons here. Um, sorry. Today we're going to be doing the second day of our lesson from yesterday, talking about dividing fractions. So we're going to jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking about this idea of keep, switch, flip, maybe something you've heard before. It's going to be big time today. You're going to hear me say it a bunch of times. I'm going to try to just knock that into your brain. So today, when we're dividing fractions, the first thing that is worth noting is this term reciprocals. Jot this one down in your notes. This can also be known as a multiplicative inverse. I'll probably call it reciprocals all the time. You'll hear me talk about it. Basically, there are numbers that are opposite fractions of each other. So for example, 2 or 2 over 1, its reciprocal would be 1/2, 3/5, and 5/3, 64/3, and 3/64. So if you notice, these are just flopping spots, and that makes it a reciprocal. You'll see why that reciprocal is important today, because we'll use that when you're dividing fractions in our keep, switch, flip. This is called the inverse property of multiplication. This is not something that I think is super important for you to know, but maybe just jot it down real quick and give yourself an example of it. Maybe even just having this in there is going to be enough for you. Basically, what it tells us is if we have a number multiplied by a fraction where it is on the bottom and 1 is on top, it's always going to equal 1. For example, a times 1 over a equals 1. 2 times 1 over 2 equals 1. If I had 5 times 1 over 5 equals 1. 100 times 1 over 100 equals 1. I can show you why this is. For example, for this one right here, 2 is the same as 2 over 1 times 1 over 2. If we multiply those across, we're going to get 2 over 2, which is the same as 1. If we had 100, it's the same as 100 over 1. Multiply those across, we'll get 100 over 100, which equals 1. That is the inverse property of multiplication. Kind of goes along with those reciprocals. Not super worried about you having that memorized. This is my big takeaway for today. This is it right here. Keep, switch, flip. Write that down in big bold letters if you need to. When we are dividing fractions, we keep, switch, flip. Pause right here if you need to. This means we're going to keep the first fraction the same. We're going to leave it how it is. We're going to switch the symbol from division to multiplication. And we're going to flip the last fraction to the reciprocal. We're going to flip its order. We're going to get a lot of practice with this today. Keep, switch, flip. So right here, we have 2 over 9 divided by 2/5. Our first number, we are going to keep just the same as it is. There's our keep. Our switch, we are going to switch this symbol, just like I said right here. Keep, switch, and flip. To flip it, we're just going to flip these. We're going to make it at the reciprocal. Now we just have a multiplication problem. We already know what to do when we're multiplying. Multiply top, multiply bottom. We talked about this yesterday. We're going to have 10 over 18. You can divide those both by 2 and simplify this down to 5/9. That would be your answer. Keep, switch, flip. Keep that first number the same. Switch the symbol from division to multiplication. Flip the last number. This works because of our inverse property of multiplication. That's why this is all possible. Keep, switch, flip. Keep, switch, flip. That's what I want you to have in your minds today. We don't have a whole lot else other than keep, switch, flip to show today. We're going to get 4 practice problems with that, and I'm going to send you on your way for your homework. Keep, switch, flip. Here we go. Keep the first number, -1/4. Switch the symbol from division to multiplication. Flip the last number. Make that 2 over 1. Keep, switch, flip. Now we have our multiplication. We can do this a couple different ways. I noticed that this is a 2 and this is a 4. I could divide those both by 2 right now because they have that common factor. Or you can multiply them right away. If we multiply them right away, we'd get -2/4. If I divide these both by 2, I'm going to have -1/2 times 1 over 1, which is going to be -1/2. That would be your final answer. This one you'd have to simplify by dividing each by 2, and you'll also get negative 1/2. Keep, switch, flip. Here we go, on to our next one. Keep the first half just as it is. Switch the symbol. There it is, the keep, the switch, and the flip. When dividing fractions, we keep, switch, flip. Now we just multiply straight across. We're going to have 15a, 3 times 5 is 15. On bottom, we'll have 16. And that is your simplest form. Keep, switch, flip. I can't say that enough today. 3, let's do it again. Keep, switch, flip. Here we go. Keep. Switch. Flip. Becomes 7, 6, the reciprocal. And we have a multiplication problem. We already know how to do that. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. 21b on top, 42 on bottom. Or if we find those common factors first, I see that we can divide both of these by 7 in here and make this 3b over 1 times 1 over 6. And we would get 3b over 6. We could also take this, divide this by 3, divide this by 3, and we would get 3b, or we would get just regular b over 1 times 1 over 2, which is going to be b over 2. That would be your final answer. Right here, we could divide these both by 21 if we found that greatest common divisor, and we'll also get b over 2. So it's important to remember to simplify those. That's your last step in all of these division problems. Simplify those problems. You find those common factors. Right here, these both had a 3 in common. These both had a 7 in common. We can divide those away and turn this easily into this right here. Otherwise, you can do this first and then find the greatest common divisor right there. You would actually do that by setting it up with those factor trees. That's how I would do it. And you'll see that they both share a 21. That's why I divided by 21. All right, last problem for today, actually. Number 4, we have a mixed number here. Remember, with mixed numbers, to first make it into an improper fraction. I'm going to rewrite this down here where I have a little bit more room. 2 1/3 divided by 7 1/8. My first step is to make this mixed number into an improper fraction. I know this is 2 full fractions plus the leftover. Or I can think of this as that times that, 6 over 3 plus the leftover. They're going to both equal the same. They're both going to get me to 7/3. So now we have 7/3 divided by 7/8. Last time I'm saying this today, keep, switch, flip. Keep, switch, flip. Keep that first number, switch our symbol, flip our last one, make that the reciprocal. Right now, I look at what they might have in common. These both are 7. I can divide those both by 7. And I could rewrite this as 1/3 times 8 over 1. Multiply that across, and we get 8/3. I also could have left this how it was and then solved later. And I would have gotten, let's see, 56 21st. Those can both be divided by 7. You get 8/3. All right, I lied to you. I'm going to say it one more time. Keep, switch, flip when dividing fractions. If you need to take a picture of this right now, pause right here. That is what I got to you. A short lesson today. Dividing fractions. Crush this. Focus on those mixed numbers. You got this.